Okay, good Friday evening to you. Meteorologist Todd Howell here, live in our streaming center here at WBIR and Channel 10. We've got some heavy downpours making their way through the region. Just want to bring you a quick update to let you know that. Matter of fact, some of these heavier showers are quick moving. They've already been moving through downtown Knoxville. So as you can see behind me, some folks walking around without an umbrella. Streets, pavement certainly wet. That's what it looks like in downtown Knoxville at Market Square. Speaking of downtown Knoxville, looking down the heart of Gay Street, yeah, wet streets. We had some gusty winds, some heavier downpours. These are not overly strong. They're not severe. Just kind of a little bit more impactful, heavier showers making their way through the region. And it's been a very warm and humid day today. So let's take you right to radar. Now, once this batch of a little bit heavier showers, we do have some thunderstorms, some lightning, some heavy rain making the way through parts of East Knox County. Of course, we'll zoom on to that in a moment. In the wake of that, Oak Ridge, Lenore City, back toward the plateau, we've got generally light to moderate rain, as you can see back to the west. So that's what we're looking at across the region. So let's move forward and we'll zoom on in on radar and show you what's happening here right now. Again, there's a look at some of those heavier showers that continue to track on to the north and east from Corryton down to Strawberry Plains. Again, this is what we're seeing. Some of those heavier showers making the way again from parts of Union County, right around Plainview, Luttrell, right around Skagston, Maloneyville, down to Strawberry Plains. Very heavy downpours of rain. Again, they're fairly quick moving, but could be producing some isolated flooding as these heavy rainfall rates are making the way through East Knox County. Again, once you get this heavier batch that's moving through Knoxville, already seeing the lighter rain moving in, just some light to moderate rain. As I mentioned, Oak Ridge, Rocky Top, back down toward Lenore City, back to Kingston in Roane County. But as far as what we're seeing over the last hour, let me show you the radar loop. And again, here's a look at some of those heavier showers and thunderstorms making their way through the Knoxville area, downtown, up to Fountain City. Again, brief, heavy downpours of rain. That's what you can expect if you're watching us downstream in Jefferson City, also down to Dandridge. Now, you saw some pretty intense storms early this afternoon. There was a severe thunderstorm warning, including Dandridge, Jefferson City, White Pine, just south of Morristown, and that provided some pretty gusty winds, some heavy rainfall. So you're going to see this round of heavier showers, again, non-severe, not even really a strong storm. Again, National Weather Service, basically the only strong storm we have right now is in Upper East Tennessee in the Bristol area. So these are just some general heavy downpours, some lightning when thunder roars, move indoors. So just bringing a quick update to let you know that we are seeing some of these scatter showers and thunderstorms as expected, making their way through the region early this evening. And just as quickly as they move in, they're kind of moving on out as well. Let me go on back down into portions of Blount County and from Maryville southward down toward Cades Cove and Townsend. Some more very heavy rainfall making its way into the southern portion of Blount County. So yeah, we're looking at these heavier showers continue to track on to the east. So Townsend, Maryville, again in Blount County, these are going to continue to track due east into Sevier County. So the movement is generally off to the east-northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So if we do a track right here on the activity in southern portions of Blount County, there you can see, again, downstream, we're looking at Townsend in about 5 to 8 minutes, Tremont 16 minutes, Wares Valley about 23 minutes, and Elkmont about 29 minutes. Again, we're just tracking some general thunderstorms. Now, we are looking at some of these, showers and thunderstorms that continue to make their way through the region. Also, the other cell, again, want to highlight and talk about once again is what's moving through the east portions of Knox County from Strawberry Plains. So let me come back up and take you into Jefferson City and Jefferson County, I should say, from East Knox County. Yeah, these storms definitely have some pretty intense rainfall rates. These rainfall rates are likely 2 inches per hour plus. So greater than 2 inch per hour rainfall rates. That's dropping a lot of water in a short period of time. So Kodak, Strawberry Plains, heading toward Jefferson City, Newmarket, and Talbot, and basically working its way from Knox County up 11E. And matter of fact, just like that, there's a severe thunderstorm warning. That's the cell. They're kind of strengthening right here. So we're looking at these having moved past Knoxville. Again, Knoxville, we're pretty much in the clear. These have already passed on through, but this just coming down for Cocke, Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, and Knox counties. Severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. So we'll go ahead and track this storm, and I'll give you the latest information. Damage and winds up to 60 miles per hour possible. It's radar indicated, and hail could be up to a quarter size. So again, even as we literally came on, heavy rain showers, these cells just in the last couple of minutes starting to intensify from East Knox County up into portions of Jefferson and Granger counties, working their way toward Hamblin County as well. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning, again, for Cocke, Granger, Hamblin, Jefferson, including Knox County, again, East Knox County, including Strawberry Plains. It's east of Knoxville now, and it's tracking east. Let me give you the movement here and the latest information from the NWS in Morristown. Again, this has just been issued by the National Weather Service in Morristown, literally just a moment ago. And severe thunderstorm warning, again, northeast Knox, Jefferson County, northwestern Cocke, central Granger, north central Sevier, and western Hamblin County specifically until 9:15. A severe storm located near New Market, so already, kind of transitioning out of Knox into Jefferson counties as we speak, and Jefferson City. It's moving east at 30 miles per hour, so pretty much due east. So let's go ahead and do an updated track for you. We literally were just tracking this storm as it was not even strong, but then it's quickly pulsed up. And we'll see if it maintains its strength. A lot of these, as quickly as they pulse up, they're going to probably pulse back down. We have intersecting outflow boundaries is what's going on with a couple of these cells, though. So when you have that, two boundaries coming together, intersecting, uplifting, that's what we're looking at with that potential for the strong to severe storm motion right now. So damage winds, 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail. Let me show you the potential hail, and then I'll do that track. And right now, and of course, we'll zoom on in. Heading toward New Market and Jefferson City, again, here is 11E. We continue to watch this storm just north of 11E. Here's Strawberry Plains. This is going to continue to track toward Jefferson City. So let me just show you. I'll change this track here to the last 30 minutes as far as the timing, and we'll continue to show that storm that it has a hail core. So here's a look at just the last 30 minutes. And again, it had hardly any hail, maybe some small pea-sized hail. Look how quickly it blossomed up. Just as soon as it moved out of Knox County and entered across the river, and coming across the Olston French Broad into portions of Jefferson County, we're seeing now that storm pulsing up. So very quickly, this storm pulsing up, have another little bit of a hail core that's just to the south of Strawberry Plains on Interstate 40 and just south of Thorn Grove Pike. That's also going to be moving into far northern Sevier County near Kodak. And so between Kodak and Jefferson City, as far as the hail potential, that's what we're looking at. Let me show you the velocity, and we'll track this storm as far as potential high winds. If you're just joining our live stream, just wanted to come on to show you that we had some heavy rain, some downpours making their way through Knoxville. And literally, as we were doing that basic update on these showers, just issued a severe thunderstorm warning. This storm has strengthened, it's pulsed up, and so it does have potential for damage winds to 60 miles per hour and maybe some hail up to quarter size. As far as the wind potential, what I'm seeing right now, it looks like most of these winds are just below severe level, but I'll go ahead and sample it just to query. South of Strawberry Plains, again, that's got a 35. Here's the update, so let's go ahead and show you that and get a little bit of better vantage point. Looks like it's probably 45 to 50 mile per hour winds. There's still a 32. Again, not necessarily showing anything overly strong as far as the velocities right now, but intense rainfall and the hail is what really spiked up. So it's in the process of pulsing up, and when storms continue to mature, the updraft strengthen, and then when they, as quick as they pulse up, they come back down. When they're collapsing, all that wind energy that's growing up into the storm could collapse down. That's where we could see some damage and winds of 60 miles per hour from the outflow from this severe storm. So let me go back to radar and show you again. This is a severe thunderstorm warning coming out of Knox County. Again, it does include Granger, Hamblin, Jefferson, and Knox, northeast, east Knox, and Cocke counties. Again, the Weather Service is going ahead and outlooking many counties downstream. We'll see if it holds together, if it stays that strong. By the way, in Kodak, again, I mentioned just north of Strawberry Plains and just south of Strawberry Plains. So Kodak, yeah, heads up there. Yeah, that looks like that's going to be an intensifying part of that storm. And that hail core, man, it looks like it's still got some medium to maybe almost severe size hail. The larger hail is located, again, just to the west of Jefferson City and continuing to track to the east as it continues to work its way off to the east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So let me come back and do a track as promised on this severe storm. See Seymour, you're seeing another heavier shower. This is the strongest part, the cluster of storms. It's made its way through the region. We had a little bit of a batch of severe thunderstorms in Sevier and Jefferson counties early this afternoon, and then most of the earlier thunder showers have been below severe levels. This one has just recently pulsed up. So let's take a look at the latest. I'll track it from just west of Jefferson City and down just to the west of Sevierville. Again, it is moving off to basically pretty much almost due east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So here are some of the communities that will be impacted. So if you're watching our live stream and you're in Kodak, it's pretty much almost to your area in far northern Sevier County right now in the Kodak area right here. So again, Kodak, New Market, about 8 minutes from right now, coming up 11E, Dumpling Valley, 9 minutes, Piedmont and Jefferson County, 12 minutes. Jefferson City, about 15 minutes from right now as this storm, again, is tracking from near Strawberry Plains, heading toward you in Jefferson City. It's a severe storm, could have 60 mile per hour damaging wind gusts. Again, it's pulsed up just briefly, really within the last 5 minutes or so, and also may have some large hail with it as it approaches Jefferson City. The potential is for quarter-size hail on this particular storm. So let me get back to our update, and I'll continue to monitor the chat room from the National Weather Service in Morristown. We'll give you some more info on that as best I can. But here's what we're looking at. Let me go ahead and take off the scan. So there's some other communities. Again, Dandridge about 23 minutes if it holds together. Mount Horeb just about 21 minutes from right now. And here's a look at the Doppler radar loop from the past hour. Let me go ahead and widen back out just a little bit for perspective so you can see other areas that's going on. Again, so here's a look at the past hour. These were just some heavy downpours, a little bit of wind. We were watching outside our station, not really overly strong, but as soon as it passed east of Knoxville and continuing down Interstate 40 east on the east side towards Strawberry Plains, coming into Jefferson, parts of Granger County and northern Sevier County, it has pulsed up briefly. So may have some pockets of damage and wind gust up to 60 miles per hour, and again, some quarter-size hail. So Dandridge, Jefferson City, you're in play as far as that goes, as far as the potential look at those stronger storms. I'll try to give you a couple of camera views, and we'll take a look at those coming up in just a moment. Let's see which camera we have selected here. And I'll kind of walk through a couple of these cameras. That's our downtown camera. Let me show you what it looks like right now from Douglas Lake and Dandridge. Again, look how calm that is. You got some folks fishing. And again, so on the coming up toward New Market, there's a strong to severe storm. So we're looking to the east right here. And so, matter of fact, let me see. I'll go in and show you that different camera view while we can here. And so bear with me, just going to pan this camera around, and we're going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you that the main part of the storm that we're looking back toward the west of this storm coming in. So again, this is Dandridge Dock, our live camera here, and overlooking Douglas Lake. And again, that's pretty much what we're seeing right there as far as fairly calm winds, but that is the storm that's back to the west that will continue to track as it comes on into our region. Other cameras, again, here in downtown Knoxville, this is a look at Covenant Health Park. The storms have already moved through. And again, as we mentioned, downtown, and this is a look at what it looks like right now. I can change the camera view here, and that storm has continued to track on to the east. So as we look on the east side of Knoxville, this is what we're seeing now as far as that storm tracking due east of Knoxville. Here's what it looks like from our tower camera. Again, pretty much looking at that being socked in. That's down the heart of Sharps Ridge, and we're looking toward House Mountain off in the distance there. Let me change the camera view so you can see that. This is a look at our tower camera right here. And again, there we are, looking down Sharps Ridge toward House Mountain in the background, and continuing to see that's that strong to severe storm. May see some lightning flashing here in a moment. Got some condensation clouds behind it, but this is in the wake of the heavy rain that has moved through the region earlier. So I'll take you back to a radar and show you what we're seeing right now. Again, if you're just joining us, that severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued just a few moments ago, and this does include, again, the east part of Knox County as it moves out and moving into portions of Jefferson County. It's in place until 9:15, so that's about 30 more minutes. We'll see if that holds together, and I will give you the very latest on this severe storm. Again, approaching Jefferson City right now. So if you're watching us in Jefferson City and just west of Dandridge, and it's in Kodak, approaching, it's in New Market right now as well. We'll continue to come up 11E, up the hill, so to speak, and continuing Lost Creek area, coming up New Market, will be in Jefferson City shortly. It's working its way to the east, slightly north of east. Again, this is coming up 11E and continuing to track just north of 11E and also 11W into Granger County. So south of Clinch Mountain, southern Granger, northern portions of Jefferson County, from basically near New Market and Lost Creek area right now, heading up into shortly Talbot area and Jefferson City here momentarily. So that's going to continue to track up to the east-northeast. Again, kind of looking at some converging boundaries. So what we'll have to watch between Jefferson City and Dandridge is the potential for maybe some stronger winds between these two cells. You have a main cell west of Jefferson City and right over Kodak that's continuing to converge a little bit. Again, let me show you the latest velocity, as we do have what it looks like when you see some brighter greens up here on the scale and even some bluer colors when we have a look at that velocity scan. That's when we're looking at some severe winds. These are generally about, looks like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds from the latest scan right now. Now, it's been strengthening, so it could be 60 mile per hour winds. It's still at its height, and we are looking at that potential hail core. The potential is for quarter-size hail or larger, and there's a look at that hail core. That is basically coming in right along the Granger and Jefferson County line, just to the west-northwest of Jefferson City, tracking off to the east. So that may be slightly good news. You won't have to deal with hail, and if it's large enough, certainly that could be an issue, but that may be tracking near and just north of Jefferson City. Another little smaller hail core to the south, north of Kodak, excuse me, to the south there in northern Sevier County. So here's a look at some of this potential hail. Again, you can kind of see how this storm, as it was tracking, look how quickly that pulsed up. There was hardly any hail detected in Knox County, and as soon as it went from Knox into right around Blaine and into Jefferson County, that's when it pulsed up, and that's when the National Weather Service in Morristown triggered that severe thunderstorm warning, because it has briefly intensified, and that's what we're looking at right there. Elsewhere, the other storm that we are tracking is down into Blount County, right over Townsend, Wares Valley. You've seen some very heavy rainfall earlier. I do want to mention, watch out for some flooding into the mountainous terrain. Again, they're going to isolated flooding, but some smaller creeks and streams could quickly flood and get out of their banks. So heads up for some street flooding and maybe some smaller creek and stream flooding from Townsend, Wares Valley, and working its way over toward Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. The ground is saturated. We all know that, right, coming out of May. And in recent weeks, and certainly even recent days, we've had these scattered thunderstorms still kind of in this pattern. So in the mountainous terrain, when you have very heavy rainfall like we're seeing here, and keep this in mind over the weekend as well, there could be some isolated flooding issues with some of these slow-moving thunderstorms. But that's a look what we're seeing right now as we take a look at the Gatlinburg view. So that's kind of in that portion of the region. Again, further north up into Jefferson City and Dandridge areas, as I go ahead and widen out. This is the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. Again, it does include Cocke, Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, and Knox counties, and it's working its way to the east, slightly north of east at about 20 miles per hour. And don't have any additional updates on this storm. Severe thunderstorm was issued at 8:37. It was about 13 minutes ago, so just less than 15 minutes ago. That warning was issued. It was not that strong as it moved through Knoxville. Had some gusty wind and heavy rain, certainly, but a good old-fashioned thunderstorm moving through. It has briefly intensified, and you can see the southern extension of that is down toward Sevierville. So with that, let me go back up here and take a look at a few other camera views. Before I do that, let me just widen out one more time and show you for the rest of our region. Again, if you're watching us anywhere else, aside from Jefferson County, where we do have this severe thunderstorm warning, including Jefferson City and Dandridge and parts of Blount and Sevier, that's where that other active cluster is. Elsewhere, we're looking at light to moderate rain. So non-impactful weather and storms for the rest of our region. So we're going to really kind of hone in on the Jefferson County and Sevier County weather right now. Let me go ahead and take you back to our weather cameras. I believe this is Market Square, and that's what we're looking at right there from Market Square. I'm going to show you what it looks like in Sevierville, our Parkway camera, and I'll change the label back here. and I'll also likely pan that camera around. But this is a live look at the, of course, the sun is about to set, actually right now. I think our sunset tonight, 8:53 in Knoxville. It's 8:52, so we're about to see that sunset. But this is a live view of our Parkway camera and in Sevierville, Sevier County. And so let me kind of go in here and we can kind of move the camera around and take you back. Looking northward here, Highway 62. A lot of times on this camera view, we're looking south toward the mountains. So there you go. There's that storm. That's kind of the outflow. If you look at that right there, there's a delay. I'm already looking at it now. Now you see it. Okay, so here's a little bit of a shelf cloud. A little bit of, that's kind of the outflow. Matter of fact, if you look real closely, that is the outflow. Let me see if I can, I'll zoom on in so you can see that a little bit better. Again, this is our live Parkway camera in Sevierville. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a pretty good little shelf cloud right there. Those are the stronger winds that are pushing out. Sorry, there's the delay. So those are the stronger winds. This is a little bit of a shelf cloud that shows the outflow boundary, the stronger winds pushing away from the severe storm. In this case, or a strong storm, you can have a shelf cloud, but that's what we're seeing off in the distance. Let me widen back out so you can see a little bit more clarity as, and I'll pan over just a little bit more as we're tracking this particular storm. Again, that's coming into northern portions of Sevier County. And what we're doing, we're looking north toward Kodak. So that's a look at that particular cell. And again, there's the outflow, very heavy rainfall, maybe some hail tucked underneath that as well. And the storm is tracking off into northern Sevier, southern Jefferson County. From this vantage point, it's moving this direction to the east-northeast at about 20 miles per hour. And so that's the latest from the Sevier County. You can almost see, if you look close enough, these clouds kind of lifting and rising. The air is coming out from the thunderstorm outflow boundary and lifting that air ahead of it. So those clouds actually also rising out ahead of that storm. So that's what it looks like from our Parkway camera in Sevier County. And as far as some of the other cameras, I'll just show you real quick. Gatlinburg, the label will say Parkway, but this is a look at Gatlinburg, still looking at the clouds and the showers that are pretty much socked in right there. So that's what it looks like. Again, in for our Parkway camera in Sevierville. Here's what it looks like right now. I'm going to take you back to Douglas Lake in Dandridge. And yeah, there's a look, and we're tracking that storm. Again, we're looking back to the west. So this is a look at the darker base of the clouds. Now, sun is setting right now, so may see some flashes of lightning, but at nighttime, obviously, you know, we're about to lose the daylight, so it'll be a little bit harder to see it. Then at night, you can see it better when you have lightning. But this is the strong to severe storm. It's in place until 9:15. Again, could have some damage winds, 60 miles per hour. Could have some hail up to quarter size. And very heavy rainfall is really one of the main threats, in addition to maybe some higher wind gust and maybe some hail, torrential rainfall. So if you're watching from Douglas Lake, it looks like, yeah, the winds may be starting to pick up slightly, but right now, not overly windy conditions. The storm is still to your west. And so let me show you what that looks like on our radar as we'll zoom back in to Jefferson County and slide on over. So there's the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that is in place until 9:15. And so right now that storm is moving into the Jefferson City area in Jefferson County and southern Granger County. So there's the warning again until 9:15. And there are the counties listed there: Cock, Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, Knox, and it is radar indicated. The southern line, that is a little bit more of a line of storms that extends from Jefferson City and down to Townsend. So a little bit of a connection with this line going all the way down into the mountains. So Townsend, Wares Valley, again, this is a little bit of a line that's developing there with torrential rainfall. Now, what the first step when we have strengthening storms is usually a beige or tan box. That's a special statement for a strong storm. So we don't even have anything outlooked on these. It's just some heavy rain. That's pretty much what we saw in Knoxville. Again, nothing really overly strong as it moved through. This is a severe thunderstorm warning on the northern edge of this line because it is briefly pulsed up. Sampling, once again, what we're looking at in terms of the potential wind speeds and potential hail. Let me show you the potential hail. It looks like that hail size has come down a little bit. Again, not surprising. We're getting past sunset now, and some of these eastern areas have already gotten a round of thunderstorms too, so it's probably going to be moving into a slightly more stable area. We have not seen many storms before they moved through in the last hour in the valley, so that's why they did intensify, because the atmosphere had not been tapped into yet in the valley. So eastern areas, as you know, in Sevier County, Jefferson County, you've already seen a round of storms earlier today, and you're a little bit more stable. So that may be playing a role to help them weaken these storms as they move into your area once again. But still, heavy rainfall, and watch out for the possibility of some flooding. So that's a look at the hail potential. And again, as far as the velocity scan, I'm seeing some 40+ mile-per-hour winds. Right now, again, into Jefferson City. And here's a look, by the way, the soccer ball in the sky. That's in West Hamlin County near Alpha, west of Morristown. That's the National Weather Service's next radar. And of course, scanning the skies across East Tennessee. So looking at maybe some pockets of some stronger winds, outflow, gusty winds. But again, a lot of times these storms, they pulse up and they pulse back down, especially this is kind of the nature of this time of year. Had a lot of heat, a lot of instability. Our heat index values, by the way, were in the low to mid 90s today. It felt like one of the hotter days of the summer season, meteorological summer so far. So, by the way, summer officially arrives 1 week from tonight. Next Friday night at 10:42 p.m., just before midnight, Eastern Daylight Time. Then we'll officially be in summer. So that's what we're looking at. You see a little bit of that brighter green. That's a little bit more. I'll just sample it. It may only be about 35 to 40, but we'll check that out. There's 31. And again, just kind of looking at some of those gusty winds. It looks like those are non-severe right now, which would be some good news as it's trying to, maybe it's pulsed up and in the process of pulsing back down. But just to kind of recap, again, I'll walk through our radar maps and show you that was an earlier preset. There's a look at Jefferson City. Here's a look at the storm motion. Again, it's off to the east-northeast. So once again, though, healthy storms, very heavy rainfall, some stronger wind gusts embedded within this line of showers and some storms making their way from Knox County up into Granger, Jefferson, Sevier counties, and eventually we'll be tracking into Cocke and Hamlin counties, but that's still a little ways away. Again, the National Weather Service in Morristown just go ahead and issue a pretty large polygon at the initial outset, so we'll see if it holds together there. It is out. We saw that shelf cloud that we saw in Sevierville Parkway camera. We are seeing these winds kind of pushing those the showers out. Kind of go on this side, explain it better. So that's what we're seeing. The winds kind of coming down the storm. They're kind of pushing out and fanning out. As we've talked about before, air and water behave very similarly. So it's kind of like you're pouring a bucket of water out. You're pouring air out. It's spilling down out of the thunderstorms, coming up ahead of it, lifting that air, and then fanning out. That's what we're seeing in the wake of these heavier showers and storms. Air is descending on the backside. It's rising on the forward side of those storms, and that's where we're seeing some of those interesting cloud formations and shapes. So I'll take you back to our, again, our Parkway camera. We can kind of, we're about to lose the daylight here, but here's what it looks like from our Parkway camera in Sevier County. The rain is there. There you go. That is a live look. Wow. That changed in a hurry, didn't it? Look at that. Some folks are actually running pretty quickly in the parking lot. Let me pan this, let's see if I go back and pan that over. But yeah, that's the storm. That's the heavy rain that has definitely moved into Sevierville. So Sevierville, you're covered up with some pretty good downpours. Again, let me go back and see if I can, I'll move the camera around just a little bit more for perspective. We've got that zoomed all the way out. So again, just going to kind of take you up the Parkway. Again, I see it about 10 seconds before you do, so you'll see it behind me moving in just a moment. There it goes. So I'm tilting up, and we'll kind of, we're looking due north. So this is the storm that's coming into Sevier County. Again, it has some potentially strong to severe thunderstorm winds. Again, right now, the latest wind gusts, it looked like they were below severe levels, but nonetheless, it does have that potential. And again, for about another less than 15 minutes now, severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. So that's what we're looking at, again, in Sevier County. And that's a live view of the torrential rainfall. Let me kind of pan on down so you can see a little bit more of the street. And we'll look at that all together. But yeah, that's the foggy conditions, the torrential rainfall that's in Sevier County. That is a live camera view of what is happening in Sevierville right now at the moment. Now, in Knoxville, in contrast with that, let me go back to our downtown Knoxville camera, and I'll show you what it looks like in Knoxville right now. Again, that's a view on the east side of Knoxville. We're seeing those storm clouds that have already moved off to the east. And here's a check. I'll go ahead and give you the reset. We'll look back to the west, pan it on around. A little bit of whiplash coming up here, but there it is. And there's a look at, again, some lighter rains filling the western sky, and we continue to see, again, those storms moving their way on to the east. Now we'll just kind of pan on around. This is looking north through Shook's Gap there, and that's where 275 cuts up into 75 north toward Merchants Road, Callahan, and Powell. So we're looking north, and by the way, Sharps Ridge is where all the TV towers are, because it's one of the higher ridges in Knox County. So for transmission purposes, that's where all the TV and radio towers, I should say. I want to leave out our radio partners. That's what we're looking at on Sharps Ridge. So here's a look. I'm panning on around. We're going to hit a pole in a minute, but not literally from our camera view. But we're just looking at the east side. There's our pole, and there's a look at what we're seeing from the darker clouds and the heavier showers. Again, this is looking east into Jefferson County and further down the way, pretty much due east towards Strawberry Plains as well. So that's what it looks like, again, from our downtown camera. Let me take you to our Sharps Ridge Tower camera, and this is looking down Sharps Ridge, and same story of what we're looking at as far as those heavier showers and storms that continue to track on to the east. And I haven't seen many flashes of lightning yet. I'll go back and see how much lightning we have. A lot of times when you're looking at is a storm strengthening or weakening, you look at the lightning count. That's one of the main indicators, because in order to get lightning, you have to have fast rising air. You have to have updrafts and downdrafts. And where those electrical particles rub against each other, that's the friction that separates the positive and negative charges in a thunderstorm cloud, like a battery, positive on top, negative on bottom. The thunderstorm's just like a battery. And so when you get that friction in a cloud with a lot of rising air motion and then downward motion, you get those, the ions separating in the cloud. So you get the different positive and negative charges separating. So when you have a strengthening storm, you get a lot more lightning. And when you have a weakening storm, you get a lot less. So that's what we're seeing there. So here's a look at, again, our tower cam. Not seeing a whole lot of lightning there. Smokies are off this week. They're down in Columbus, Georgia, playing in the team down there. Knox 1 soccer, they've got the field cover right now, but you got with soccer that's going to be going on. I don't know if they had a game tonight and it's done, or they got the field cover, they're waiting to play. I see some activity there. So I'm not sure on the details there, but I know they've got games scheduled there. So that's a look at the Covenant Health Park and our stadium camera, and then back to Douglas Lake. So here's a look at that particular storm. Yeah, that's a wider view. So let's see. Let me go back to, I'll go back to a wider view, I should say. And that's pretty good. We're going to get a bird's eye view of this storm. Look at that. That's a pretty good shelf count. Look how that extends all the way down back to the west. So we're looking at the front lobe of this storm, the strongest winds. This is the outflow, so this is a strong wind gust. The winds will be picking up right behind this darker cloud base right here, and then the torrential rain back in there as well. So let's see. This is looking back. That's looking back to the south. This is looking back toward Kodak, and I'll just pan on around so you can kind of see there's the edge of that. Isn't that impressive? That's the leading edge. It'll focus here in a second, hopefully. There we go. And so that's the leading edge of that shelf cloud. And again, this is just a point that we're watching from the Dandridge dock. We're kind of looking back toward the southwest of Dandridge right now. So a little bit back toward Kodak and southern parts of Knox County, way off in the distance. And now let me come on around and make sure I'm zoomed all the way out. I think I am. Yeah, we're zoomed all the way out, so I can't go out any further. I can go up or down and around. But there's a look at the other part of that storm. And look at that. You can, if you watch these clouds, and now we're going up toward Jefferson City. Let me kind of come on around. Another pole. It's attached to a pole, so you got to have that. But there's a look at the northern part of that shelf cloud and leading edge of some pretty stronger winds. And a lot of times, let me just point this out right now. I say, oh, wait a minute, what is that? Is that a look at a possible funnel? No, what we call scud clouds. Yeah, a lot of times they could be funnel cloud lookalikes or tornado lookalikes. This is pretty typical. These are just inflow notches of debris clouds coming out of an outflow boundary, a thunderstorm, or strong winds going into a storm. That was impressive. There's some lightning. So that's a pretty good vantage point right there. What scud clouds do give you, though, is some pretty good wind gust within a thunderstorm. But again, that's not a funnel. So a lot of times they're not the same environment, totally different between a severe thunderstorm where we have some winds and heavy rain, et cetera, versus tornadic. So these are not tornadic. Just want to point that out. Had a moment there. Little weather PSA. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Again, look at the winds picking up right there, by the way, on the lake. Let me pan on down so you can hopefully get a vantage point of that as we're all looking at that together. So again, I'm just going to kind of, this is Dandridge, Douglas Lake, got a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. This is the storm, went past Knoxville, not severe, not even that, I mean, had some gust winds, heavy rain, but it wasn't overly strong. It intensified as soon as it got into East Knox County and Jefferson and Cott County. So there's the lightning right there. So that's, again, the core of that lightning showing up right back in there. And now could be from the wind bouncing around or a boat or the wave action, the water. So whenever a boat goes by, that's usually when it's attached to the dock, so that's when you see that bounce around. I believe looks like that's pretty much due to the wind. See that lightning back there? That's impressive. Now once the sun sets, that's going to be even more notable a lot of times when you have those at storm. Nope, don't say, I was going to say hardly see anybody out on the water, except I think we just found a boater right there with the lights off in the distance. A beacon of light looking off in the distance there, but if they're looking at that, they're time to get off the water. Here's another one coming in. Yeah, by the way, this is the dock, so what they're doing is they're hauling, seeing the storm, and they're going to park it. Of course, there goes another one out there. They're going to come up here on the dock, more than likely. Let's see if I can show you where the dock is, or the exit ramp, I should say. Of course, it's right behind the pole. But yeah, so we're not going to see that dock. But anyway, got some look, folks are out fishing right now. So we'll just take you from our storm cam in Douglas Lake to our fishing cam. So, I'm sure they're going to be packing up. Now, I will say, Katie Emmett and I, we were at Dandridge. We were at the same dock. I'll show you exactly where we were standing. We were right about over here. No, actually, right here. But anyway, earlier this week on Monday, doing our 10 About Town show, and this is it's a fairly long walkway pier to get out to the dock. The dock is out there, extends out into the lake pretty good bit. It's a beautiful dock at Dandridge Dock. And by the way, you just go across the bridge and take the very next road to the right. It's called Public Drive. It's right after the bridge, and you can go there. It's free access, etc. But the point I'm making, these folks fishing and looking at the storm clouds, it's going to take a little walk, a little jog. It's a long pier to get out to the dock and walkway there. So, if you're ever out there fishing, you see storm clouds, you want to allow just a little bit extra time as they're fishing, and you and I at home are watching this lightning and storm clouds increasing just to their west. So again, that's a live look. Again, just going back to what we're seeing from our Dandridge dock. And again, by the way, just for reference, try to the ramp to get in and out of the Douglas Lake. One of the exit ramps is right here. So that's likely where that boat was going. I just went on around there. All right, let me go back to radar, and let's do a take on extra take on see what's going on right now with the latest radar and with this latest severe storm. Here's what we're seeing right now. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is in place until 9:15, and so that is going to be continuing for about 5 more minutes. I want to log back in and see the very latest. Okay, we've got an update. So the severe thunderstorm warning, as you can already see right here, it's been canceled. It's been shrunk down. It's canceled for Knox County. It's basically in there. It's not being warned for in Sevierville and Gatlinburg. We showed you our Parkway camera in Sevierville. Very heavy rainfall in Sevierville right here. And again, that kind of shows you that's what we had in Knoxville. It wasn't showing that high of winds. It was heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, but even kind of 30 or less, and that's not really a particular note, but that's what you're seeing right here in Sevier County. So it's below severe levels, torrential rainfall. This is kind of what we saw in Knoxville as it moved through our area earlier, but when it moved into East Knox County, there was some hail, a hail core that briefly pulsed up, and some brief high winds in that. It looks like those have started to come down a little bit. I'll double check those. While we're in Sevier County, Gatlinburg and Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, let's go ahead and just make sure, and again, just making sure we're giving you an update on these storms so they're not severe. I don't see again, too many strong winds with this particular storm as it's making its way into Sevier County. So we'll go back onto radar. Let me check out the potential hail. And again, maybe some small to medium-sized hail, maybe some pea-sized hail, which is basically around 1/4 of an inch, and mothball size hail, it can be like 1/2 inch. But that's what we're seeing right there. But it's probably what we call water-loaded, high precipitable water content. So a lot of that, sometimes you can have that can be contaminated, not really hail, it's just heavy rain that could be within that storm. So again, I just don't see this mainly heavy rain and some gusty winds and outflow in Sevier County. So for Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, if you're watching us right now in Sevier County, you're seeing torrential rainfall. We'll go back to that camera in a moment. Just want to let you know that that's not severe. It may have some gusty winds and heavy rain, unless it briefly intensifies. We'll keep an eye on it. There's a little bit more of that core that continues at what I'm seeing right here. That's just to the north of east of Kodak, excuse me, and that's continuing along Highway 139. So this particular area is seeing a little bit better structure in terms of the very heavy rainfall. Let me see if that's got any hail in it. Looks like it's moving on to the east, maybe some small hail. Back to radar. Again, Dandridge, we talked about for Douglas Lake. There's a look at those heavier showers. Jefferson City, that's moving past you. Right now, it is located just coming into the National Weather Service office, which is located in Alpha right here, and that's a look at the NexRad Doppler radar. So National Weather Service in Morristown provides all the radar coverage for East Tennessee from Bristol to Knoxville down to Chattanooga, including all the valley, and even into southwest North Carolina and parts of Virginia. So that's what the National Weather Service does. They're responsible for radar coverage. They issue all our warnings as well. That comes from the National Weather Service office in Morristown. So they relay and distribute all of our weather watches and warnings products and forecast information. They do a great job up in Morristown, and so that's where they're located, west of Morristown in western Hamlin County, technically in Alpha. And if you're driving up 11E, you'll see it looks like a big soccer ball up in the sky in the industrial park just off the right-hand side if you're going toward Morristown. So that's what we're seeing right there. Again, as far as what I'm seeing right there, as far as in Jefferson City, I don't see, it looks like mainly it's just a heavy rain event right now is what I'm seeing for the most part across the region. Let me go ahead and widen back out. So these are the scattered stronger storms in terms of the lightning that are making their way through Sevier County. Again, right here, let me slow it down to just 1 hour so we can just see what was happening just in the last hour. And I'll zoom back in. Again, it's mainly for the eastern half of our region. This is the cluster of showers and thunderstorms, again, sliding from Jefferson City, Dandridge, and Sevierville. So if you're watching this downstream in Cott County, in Greene County, the rest of Hamlin County, the rest of Jefferson County, White Pine toward Mossheim, and continuing up toward Bulls Gap, Russellville, and further north, you can expect some more heavy rainfall, maybe some stronger wind gusts in general, but right now, looks like hopefully that's going to stay just below severe levels as we go in time. Again, so that was the latest, and we're coming up on 9:15. This warning's about to expire, and so we'll kind of let that go ahead and expire on out. And then what I'm going to do, just as far as in closing, because it looks like we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. You'll see the crawl warning information at the bottom of the screen, but just wanted to bring an update. Actually, the plan was just to let you know these storms moving through, not overly strong, and obviously, wouldn't you know it, it briefly intensified. We got a warning out of that batch of storms that moved through. So staying on a little bit long on this stream than we originally planned because of this warning, which is just about to expire in probably about 20 seconds or so right now. So that's what we're looking at with that severe thunderstorm warning for you in Jefferson City and Dandridge, but again, hopefully weakening. We're going to keep an eye on these storms in Sevier County. Again, very heavy rainfall, maybe some stronger wind gusts embedded within that. Don't see a lot of hail with that right now. We're past sunset, and it's moving into an area you've already been raked over once. I do want to remind folks, though, as I mentioned a moment ago, when these were coming through Blount County from Townsend and headed toward Wares Valley into Sevier County, isolated flooding could certainly be an issue. So watch out on the parkway coming up from leaving Gatlinburg toward Pigeon Forge and Dollywood, also Sevierville, and anywhere from Sevierville, Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg, areas in between into the mountainous areas. Some flooding is possible, very heavy rainfall. This is rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour in general. So we're looking at some pretty heavy rain. Let me just show you, for example, We'll go ahead and show you. This may take a hot second just to come up. Looking at the total rainfall of what we've seen so far today. And let's see that, to make sure that was still adding up. So there's a look at what we're seeing from basically Wares Valley to just to the west. Yeah, I was about to say, it's taking a second to load there. Now it's loaded in, because I saw those storms earlier today. It's produced more than that. So here's what we're looking at. I'll just give you a query example of how much rain is falling. Yeah, that's impressive. This is both this afternoon's total. This is a 24-hour total. So since it started raining 24 hours ago, but most of that's earlier today and then into this evening. 2.80 inches. This is near Wares Valley, as you can see, coming into the Sevier County side. Another bullseye looks like it's near Pigeon Forge. Let me just query that total. We'll try to get it on the brightest part, that the highest total. That's 2.7. And just near Gatlinburg, north of there, 1.5 inches, and coming up into Sevier County, lighter amounts that may be on the order of an inch, 1.5 inches or so, well, just under that, 0.8. So that gives you an example of some of the total rainfall amounts that we have seen so far. So that's the only other concern, is watch out for some flooding as this heavy rain moves through. It would be brief. It quickly rise in water. Small creeks and streams, some of the urban and small stream creek flooding, and some of that street flooding as well, that's going to continue as these storms track on to the north and east. All right, so those are making their way just south of Morristown. Let me go up into the Morristown area if you're watching us in Morristown. Again, that's coming into Alpha right now, working its way, especially across the southern half of Hamlin County. North of there, we're not seeing too much for you in Bean Station and Granger County up towards Sneeville. So again, it's mainly near and just south of Morristown down toward White Pine, and continuing to track basically Douglas Lake area. So let me show some camera views. I'll wrap up with our weekend forecast in a moment, and then we'll kind of go from there and conclude, and then we'll see you back for at 10 on Fox 43 and 11 o'clock on Channel 10 coming up in just a bit, after I eat some dinner here in just a little bit. But here's a look at, yeah, look at that. Isn't that impressive? That's Douglas Lake. So there's a look at our camera from our Dandridge dock in Douglas Lake. So that's what's happening right there. Again, there's our pole. Let me zoom back around. Let's see if the folks are still out there fishing. And maybe, there goes a boat. Whoa, that's pretty impressive. Look at that lightning. See that? Oh, hey, it's a good timing to come start. This is what happens once the sun sets, you can see a lot more of the flashes. In the daytime, actually, it gets, kind of subdued. Whoa, that's pretty impressive. That's what's happening right now. Wow, we've got a light show going on. That's that storm. Again, let me see if they have not extended that severe thunderstorm warning. So here we are at 9:19. Real quick, just a half second, and I'll come right back to this camera in just a moment, and we'll continue to track that. But just want to make sure that warning, I don't see an extension on that. Again, it was in place until 9:15. So yeah, just wanted to show you real quick that we don't have any more severe thunderstorm warnings in place, but these are some pretty impressive storms, heavy rainfall, and as you just saw, frequent lightning, maybe some gusty winds, Jefferson City, Dandridge, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Pittman Center. So I just wanted to confirm that yes, what I'm seeing as well, that severe thunderstorm warning was allowed to expire. So we take you back to our Dandridge camera, and let me go back. I have some presets here. So you got some brave folks there that are braving the rain. Now running, you're looking live at the Dandridge dock. Now, there's some folks there. On a serious note, whenever we do have lightning, head indoors. Better to play it safe. If it's just rain, you get wet. But you got lightning like we got right now, it's a better idea to head indoors. I know that's really dark behind me. There's some boats coming in. They're moving in. They're about to get off at the ramp. That's exit ramp, and getting out. But yeah, that's some frequent lightning. That's incoming. Actually, what we're looking at, that lightning is down towards Sevierville and Douglas Dam. So we're looking from Douglas Lake, Dandridge Dock, looking back to the southwest from Jefferson County and Dandridge right now. We're looking south towards Sevier County. So that's a look at that impressive lightning that's in the sky and the very heavy rainfall. I don't know if you can see that really good. You can definitely see the lightning, right? So that's coming in. That's what's happening in Dandridge right now and Douglas Lake. This is over Douglas Lake of what we're currently seeing. So here's the different vantage point. I think it has, yeah, I'll show you Douglas Lake right there. So that's what's happening from our Dandridge Dock and Douglas Lake right now. Here's what it looks like in Sevier County. And again, that heavier showers kind of continue to move on through. There's the lightning, whoa, off to the east. So this is Sevierville, and we're looking, this is due north. And again, Dandridge is, well, let's see, right up in here. So we're looking, this storm is moving past Dandridge and Douglas Lake and continuing to track on off to the east. So that's a vantage point from our Parkway camera in Sevierville. And I'm just gonna pan that over just a little bit more. We're gonna go up and over just because that's some pretty impressive lightning that's going on, just to show you that. So that's the Parkway. Now we're kind of looking northeast from Sevierville and back up toward Douglas Lake and near Dandridge. And so we're looking at, we're on the south part of the storm here as it's moved through Sevierville, and we're looking northward. And from Douglas Lake, we were looking the other direction to the south, looking south. So we're kind of got that storm covered between our cameras, between our Parkway camera Sevierville and our Douglas Lake camera to the north. So that's what we're looking at between those two cameras. That's what it looks like, again, in Sevier County. And then we take you back to Douglas Lake, and this is what it looks like in Dandridge. So those are the scattered storms and the lightning. Again, that's the meteorologists in us. A lot of times, I can tell you one of the things that fascinated me was this about thunderstorms, being able to watch lightning off in the distance in a safe location, obviously, not outside. You want to be inside in a safe location watching it. But, you know, especially when they weren't too impactful. But one of the joys of weather watching is being able to watch a thunderstorm, not when it's severe, obviously, or damage, but watching a general thunderstorm, it's kind of impressive. So I never see that lightning. Look how heavy those big drops of water, and there's that lightning again. We're looking to the southwest from Douglas Lake and looking back towards Sevierville. So that's that lightning. And I'll tell you what, I want to check on let me go back to our different camera setting. I'm hoping that maybe the folks that were fishing on that corner part of the dock are still there. So let me pan on over. It's still there, and so yeah, I know. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, they need to get inside. You're correct. They need to. You don't want to mess around with lightning. Yes, that's the time to get inside. That's exactly right. So that's what we're looking at. Again, I'm panning around on the different presets that I have, and we are looking at that strong storm that continues. Not severe anymore, just some impactful storms making their way through the region, and put it on an impressive lightning show in Sevier County. And so that's a look again just at Douglas Lake. I'm going to go through the different cameras. I know it says Douglas Lake, but this is Covenant Health Park. This is downtown. And so we're quieter in Knoxville. Got some light rain, and that's our Sharps Ridge Tower camera. And we'll come back to that in a minute to conclude. As again, just seeing some of these impressive lightning and impressive thunderstorms now. Non-severe, just strong. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to show you the radar. We'll look at our futurecast. I know it's hard to not to enjoy a little bit of a lightning show, but again, a humble reminder for those folks who are fishing on the dock. Whenever there's lightning around, and particularly that close, play it safe. Just go back and get in your car inside, wait for that storm to pass, be out of harm's way. It's always better to be safe. So just a reminder, trying to use that as an example. Whenever we got some strong storm. So look at that. Look at the radar. Again, we're basically calmer now in Knoxville. This is the storm that has made its way through the Knoxville area. It briefly pulsed up and went severe out of Knox County into Jefferson and northern Sevier County, and from Dandridge south toward Gatlinburg, including the Pigeon Forge area. This is a look at some of those stronger storms. So here's the fascinating part. Let's zoom on in, and just to kind of let you see what we're looking at on radar. You can see the lightning strikes. So when we were seeing the lightning, so here's Dandridge and Douglas Lake. So we got the heavy rain. We're generally, I'm not sure exactly, but we're somewhere right here. Our camera's right here. So we were looking at the lightning south of us, and Sevierville, I should have been saying more southwest. So it's past Sevierville. But on our Sevierville Parkway camera, which is about, let's see, right in here, roughly, real rough, right in here, about halfway here. We were looking off to the northeast, so that's the storm, that's the lightning. So that was our vantage point. We're Douglas Lake, looking south toward in our camera toward the storms, south of Dandridge, and in south of Sevierville, we're looking northeast, closer to Douglas Lake and Dandridge, and that's the storm. So Highway 92, Highway 411, that's where you have the most lightning and some of the heaviest rains that's impacting your area right now. Over the last, let me just do 45 minutes. And we'll show you the progression of the storm. Wow, it's moving pretty quick. It's slow enough to be dropping some pretty heavy rainfall rates. So it is around White Pine right now, moving into the White Pine area, I should say. And as soon as that pops back up. And that's what we're looking at right now as it's making its way, again, off to the south and east of Dandridge, and making its way through Douglas Lake area and again toward Newport. There's White Pine, sorry, to the north and east of Dandridge, and continuing just to the south of Morristown in southern Hamlin County. So most of the lightning, and again, moving east to Sevierville, Harrisburg and eastern portions of Sevier County, rural areas, that's where you're seeing a lot of the lightning. All right, so that's a check of radar, and again, just to kind of widen out one more time to show you the very latest of what we're seeing. Well, that's our Dandridge camera. Again, overall, we're looking at conditions kind of improving for most of the valley. There's a look at the last 2 hours just to show you the replay of those scattered storms making their way through the region, and we continue to see these impactful storms south of Morristown and moving through Jefferson and Sevier County. So heads up Newport and Parisville, you got some of this frequent lightning heading your direction, and continuing across Douglas Lake and making its way in toward White Pine and toward Parrottsville and Newport, and continuing to track along the Jefferson-Sevier County line toward Cott County. So pretty much going to be in Newport here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So heads up there for your folks in northern Cott County as well. All right, let's talk about the Father's Day. Here we are, Father's Day weekend. It's Friday night. Let's talk about the weekend forecast. And again, we'll talk much more about this coming up. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a forecast update. We'll see these scattered showers and storms winding down tonight, and early in the morning there'll likely be some fog in the morning because, once again, these thunder showers that have moved on through. So for your Saturday, we'll have some fog and low clouds early, probably looking at mainly dry conditions through the morning hours, and then by Saturday afternoon, we got a decent chance for more, at least spotty, to scattered thunderstorms redeveloping in the heat of the day, afternoon and evening. And then Sunday, pretty good chance for showers. Maybe a few isolated thunder showers. Looks like it's going to be cooler Sunday. We may not get to 83. We're going to see an area of low pressure that's almost spinning about right over us. So mostly cloudy, may get a dry part of the start of the day, but look for some scattered showers. 70% chance they're fairly likely. An area of low pressure kind of spinning right over us. So that's a look ahead to our weekend. Not raining the whole time. And again, as far as tomorrow, the better chance is redeveloping later in the afternoon and evening. Decent chances for Father's Day Sunday, but either way, to all the dads and fathers out there, I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day weekend and Sunday. And looking ahead, just wanted to show you this real quick, and then we'll conclude. Looking ahead next week, we'll still have those daily chances, but notice the percentage chances. Spotty storms possible Monday, slightly lower chances. I've got Tuesday at a higher chance. A little bit more of a boundary moves in. Wednesday gets warmer with less chances. And then Thursday, Juneteenth, it goes back up to 70%. This is going to be a boundary moving through. May have some stronger storms Thursday. Friday, though, looks to be, now here's some good news if you want sunshine, dry weather, and hotter temperatures. Next Friday and next weekend may be your type of weather. Friday, 88 with sunshine. And we're forecasting temperatures to be right around 90 degrees next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And oh, by the way, don't you love the irony of the timing? Summer officially arrives 1 week from today, next Friday night at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Right on cue. As summer officially arrives, we may see our first 90-degree temperatures. Okay, that's it for now. Yeah, enjoy the lightning show, but stay inside, stay out of harm's way. When thunder roars, move indoors as always, and be safe if you have to be out on the roads. Drive carefully, watch out for high water. Again, we'll be back in just a little bit at 10 on Fox 43 and 11 o'clock on WBIR for a full update. And you can always keep it here on our live stream whenever we have impactful weather moving into East Tennessee. Have a good, safe night, and have a great weekend.